Today's conversation is a full circle moment for me. I'm chatting with Dr. Marc Morris. He's a nutrition coach, educator, and the founder of the Nutrition Coaching Academy. If you're a coach, a client, or someone who's just trying to figure it all out or curious about this space, you've probably come across his work. And if you haven't, get ready to binge his content. Dr. Marc played a huge part in my own journey as a coach, and in this episode we dive into the stuff that most people don't talk about, which is, the early struggles with weight and identity, building a business that actually helps people, navigating the burnout, the plateaus, how you can set boundaries in your business, and just managing the pressure of always feeling like you need to continue to do more. So this episode has a little bit of everything, whether you're a coach who's trying to find your footing, or if you're in a season of doubt or transition. I really believe there's something here that's going to hit home no matter where you're at. So if you want to share what lands for you, you can find Marc on Instagram at Marc W. Morris or on YouTube at Dr. Marc Morris. His info is all linked in the show notes below. So, okay, let's go chat with Dr. Marc. Okay, cool. Thanks, Dr. Marc, for joining us today. I'm super excited to have this conversation with you because you're kind of the person who's started it all for me in terms of this whole journey. And I wanted to dive into kind of how your journey has started and kind of where it's gone and how you can continue to keep moving forward, right? Like we're always trying to move forward, especially as coaches, as entrepreneurs and everything. So I want to hear a little bit more about you, and I want the listeners to get to know a little bit more about you and kind of like how you got into the nutrition coaching world and how that was kind of brought up for you.
Yeah, you bet. I think number one, thanks for having me on. I'm really excited to dive in and chat. I know a lot of this stuff comes full circle for us in terms of you coming into the program and starting coaching and coaching so many people and sharing a lot of similar messages with your clients and stuff. So I'm really, really pumped to be here. I think for me, I think the nutrition journey started very similarly to a lot of people. I was playing probably even earlier than like high school sports, but realized that like if I want to get better at this stuff, I got to start lifting weights, and what I eat matters in terms of how I look and fueling my body and all that stuff, and really got into it at that point. But even earlier, I remember like struggling with my weight in grade school, and like a few pivotal moments of like realizing I was overweight and having self-esteem issues that come with that and wanting to do something about it. And I remember just like watching what I was eat really like early in terms of even the things I remember just like kind of popping up as memories in terms of what I started doing. It's just like you could tell that like I was interested in this stuff. And there was definitely like a personal connection to it of wanting to figure it out for myself. But then, high school, starting to take it seriously and just falling in love with everything about the weight room and being someone that like, I'm sure you can resonate with this. Just like, I don't know, wanting to figure out what I was going to do with my life and being somewhat like smart and motivated. I don't know, smart, intelligent. I don't know, like book smart in terms of like you're taking school seriously, but you don't know what that looks like. Is it teaching? Is it like, a health sciences profession or something along those lines? And then just thinking like, okay, well, I'll do something science related just because that's what makes the most sense for me, but not really finding my place. And through that process, just realizing, hey, I could do research in nutrition. At that point, like coaching wasn't even a thing, like in the, I guess, early 2000s. Like it wasn't
Yeah.
like people weren't doing that stuff. Like maybe they were talking about it on the internet and writing about it and sharing knowledge, but no one was really like working with people individually. And just realizing like through grad school and research that I really wanted to work with people, and had an entrepreneurial bug that like I wanted to do my own thing and go through that process. So I started taking on clients during grad school in like 2011, around that period. Started working with people like in a really like off the side capacity, side hustle, just get it going. It was all over the place, but I was eager to do it, and people started to see that I was the person that could do it and just start that way. And I remember even just putting my head down and like really focusing on like how to become a good coach for a few years, and just like hitting the ground running and kind of going from there. And then got to the point where I was like working with like 100 clients at a time, like 7 days a week, check-ins, like just like taking it all on, kind of like the Superman complex of like, what can I do? What more can I do? Can I do it all? That kind of stuff. And then taking that process and trying to build out a team, which ended up turning into the certification process. So that's kind of where I am and what it, took me through. I survived a PhD through the process and like international powerlifting competitions and strength sports and all that stuff. And it's cool to look back on, but it's definitely been like I've wore a lot of hats and done a lot of things, I guess, to get where I am.
That's like, you it's so casually the way you say it because you've gone through it all and now you're at a point where you're like, yeah, like this is like the foundation I've built through all these years of like, a grind. Like that's not just like, you don't just go through a PhD and then also like have 100 clients. Like that's like, that is a grind that you went through. So like, where was that moment where you're like, I just have to keep going? Like, how did you keep going?
I wish I could tell you I knew anything else other than that. Like that's
Yeah.
all um it like part of it like is there aspects of it that are like unhealthy maybe. I'm like kind of just wired to be I want to improve, I want to grow, I want to do more things. And that kind of keeps me on the straight and narrow. I think at times that can become like I guess like a little bit isolating and like deflating at times when you're constantly on the grind and stuff, but I'm really just connected with I think about someone like you starting coaching and also working with 100, plus clients and impacting those communities and families and people like improving and their lives changing. And to me, it's that ripple effect of, if I could just do that with one person, man, it like I have so much more impact. So that's what kind of like now keeps me going, looking back on things. It's just how can I show up and be helpful, and spread this message that like nutrition and fitness can change lives, not just health, but like your overall life.
Yeah, and like kind of going back to the beginning of it all, which is like you were in sports and like how do you feel like your, upbringing formed the way that you are now? Like how do you feel like that impacted, the drive? Because I feel like athletes are kind of naturally people who are driven and like entrepreneurial. Like do you feel like that was kind of like the start of it all, or where do you feel like it kind of sparked from?
I feel like I was definitely like, I don't know, an intelligent kid in terms of like I took school seriously. Like I was a try hard. Like I definitely like, had some brown noser like tendencies. But I'd say I didn't have it figured out in terms of like sports and athletics, especially at the beginning. When I first started playing hockey, I remember trying out for like the rep team for like 3 or 4 years and not making it. And then kind of being like, I need to do this. I need to figure this out. I need to, for whatever reason, I don't know if it was like status is a weird
Yeah.
word to use when you're thinking about like a 12-year-old kid, but like like I needed to like achieve these things and do that kind of stuff. And I think learning that my effort, especially as someone that, you know maybe school was one thing, but like in my overall life, like socially, sports, that kind of stuff. At the moment, I didn't really feel like I could put effort into something and see the payoff of it. When I started to see that, like, there's things I could control, things I could influence, things I could get better at, it was just completely like game changing for me in terms of like eye opening. It's like this feedback loop of you can put effort into things, it will pay off for you, it'll make your life better, and you can just keep doubling down on that with the skills you're learning and the things that you're achieving. And that to me was just like set off this entire path of I need to improve.
Yeah. And it's like you said kind of earlier, just like that feedback loop of like we continue to see the things that we can keep striving for and like, that doesn't come without its roadblocks. Like was there anything that kind of felt like hard roadblocks for you that like you can think about being like, man, like I can't believe I got through that? Or was there anything, or were you just like, okay, like it kind of just moved to the side pretty quickly and you're like, yeah, just keep going in the other direction?
I think for like a lot of people that want to achieve things, like you want results quickly, you want the payoff immediately, you do want all those things. So a lot of times you fall victim of the stuff that doesn't really work, but you're doing anyway. And I remember for me, for a lot of it, especially at the beginning, maybe at the beginning of undergrad when I was like 18, 19, 20 years old, thinking like supplements was a big thing where it's like I'll take all this stuff. And yes, I was going to the gym, but maybe I really wasn't focusing on what matters the most and probably just wasted a bunch of time and energy. But I remember the first time like really I would say doing things quote unquote correctly and like getting abs and like getting a lot stronger and being like, this is wow, like this can actually happen for me, right?
Yeah.
This is the reality, something that I thought I would never achieve, right? I kind of go from there, and it kind of came back to like a lot of the principles I still practice today when it comes to the science of this stuff. But I remember that being like, oh man, I think a lot of times you grow up thinking like you're this chubby kid that's working really hard and that's not possible for you. Like
Mm.
that's not your life. That's not who you are kind of thing. And that was just obviously a physical thing and it doesn't mean everything, but it just kind of like eye-opening around like you can do that stuff.
Yeah, and that's like a lot of like forward looking too, right? Like you're looking very much into the future, saying like, okay, this is who I am right now, but that's not who I want to be. Like a lot of people struggle to actually take those steps to start moving in that direction. Like, and that's where we get hung up is like, oh, like you get holed up in like the I don't think I can. And it's like, okay, then you probably won't, right? So it's like,
Hmm.
you know, that self-talk, like did you find yourself just keep saying like, hey, like I just have to keep going, like this is no other option, or
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if it was just a belief that I ultimately could do it, or I would just do my best to try. And if it didn't happen, I'd probably learn something along the way. And I think that's kind of like what you end up, I'm rationalizing a little bit, but I end up like really coming to appreciate about that process is like that's if you just put your head down long enough. I think I honestly did the same thing with my PhD. I remember thinking, I wanted it for a specific outcome. I wanted it for to be able to like write books and have, credentials and that kind of stuff. And I remember thinking like if I just read for long enough and write enough of these papers and stick with this process, I'll get it, right? Like they'll give it to me kind of thing. And it's just maybe that kind of persistence has played out in a bunch of different ways.
yeah. And do you ever feel like there's pressure to continue to, keep leveling up or keep showing up like in a certain way? Like I know I think every coach probably does, but like it's a real thing to just we put a lot of pressure on ourselves.
Hmm.
So like do you feel like that pressure is like pushing you, or do you feel like sometimes it can feel like a lot and heavy?
It's definitely pushing me. I think it's probably a combination of both pushing you and I think you got to learn how to channel it because I think you're right. I think a lot of people that end up in these roles and these professions probably are harder on themselves than anyone else would be. And that can be really, really tough. But I think you just got to think about like I wouldn't feel that way unless I could lift this load and handle it and grow and evolve. And I think you just got to kind of wrap your head around it that way.
Yeah. And what's your support system like in terms of like, because sometimes we can do it all on our own, but sometimes we need that person to help guide us. And like, what do you feel like has helped you get to this point? Like, what are those support systems that you have had in place over the years to get you there?
Well, that's a great question. Obviously, like my wife's been like very supportive, and now even like in the last little bit, doing similar things, which is extremely helpful, right? Because now that when we go for walks and stuff, we're like talking about business and diving into that stuff and doing a lot of similar things. So that part, having someone like that in your life, on a personal level is always really, really helpful. And I definitely can credit a lot of like, I guess success and support to that. I think should be cool if I was doing something completely different too, but it definitely makes it helpful on an entrepreneurial sense to have that. But also, yeah, like coaches need coaches too. And outside of the personal aspect, like someone with an objective set of eyes that will like see things in you that you don't see yourself and give it to you straight when it's necessary and be objective about some of the tough stuff because just like athletics and body composition in sports like personal development and business like it's tough to be objective with your own stuff like you
Mm-hmm.
can definitely get in your own way make a bunch of excuses be very displaced from reality at times and that part is really really tough it's also once you see it as the other side of things, it can be really liberating in terms of like, no, this is why things aren't as good as they could be for me or moving as fast. And I think a good objective set of eyes and coaches will do that for you. And for me, it's been a variety of different business coaches along the way. And that, again, probably, I don't even think that was really a thing in 2015 or 2016 or in some of the periods I probably definitely could have utilized that and really, really needed it. I think I avoided that stuff for a long time, just thinking I could do it all on my own.
Yeah. Well, there's something to be said too to say like I'm gonna go try it on my own and I might fuck it up, but then I know, like you said before, like you're learning lessons along the way, trying things yourself, and then you go, okay, well that person kind of seems like they know what they're talking about, so maybe I should just talk to them.
Yeah.
Because yeah, there's really a lot of resilience that gets built when you're doing things on your own and you just like I'm gonna go fuck it up real quick and then see what
Yeah.
happens.
Hmm.
Like, what were some of the key things that you learned by having a coach as someone who was coaching others? Like, was there something that was like clicked for you that you're like, oh, that is like so helpful for me to keep
Yeah, I
pushing?
think one of my first business coaches, Libby, she was one of the first people I saw on social media putting like text on images.
Yeah.
Um, and I remember thinking, wow, this was at the moment I didn't know much about marketing. Or how to grow my business and how to do it. Like I was doing all the fulfillment online and stuff, but definitely needed to get better at that. And just saw them being like, oh, what a cool, like what an interesting way to like educate people, but also like show up online.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that being like, okay, I got to learn more about this. And I remember that being like a pivotal thing around. It's crazy what how you end up like attracting people to your business. I remember that being a thing that's like, I want to learn more about that. I want to learn from someone like that. As well as on the flip side of things, being resistant to stuff. Probably my longest tenured business coach, Adam Earhart, who actually lives out your way now. But he's really big in on YouTube and in like in the marketing and business space. But he, when I first met him, was full in on YouTube, and it took me like probably like almost 2 years to come around to the idea of like doing it myself,
Mm-hmm.
despite being someone that really like I'm a YouTube person. Like I live on it. I'm constantly searching things and watching videos on like how to do stuff, and even follow a lot of people on there and like their channels and stuff. So I was like in that world, but still didn't see it for me. And it like literally took him 2 years of slow playing, being like, you need to do this. Like your skill set, like this is would be something that you could do at. And again, maybe I'm just in terms of like consistency and punishment, I'm just super stubborn. So I started with like a video a week, then got up to like 2 videos a week, and been doing that now for we've done it for 3 years straight.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, like not like we're Christmas Day, like one's coming out. Not to say we don't do stuff in advance, of course, but
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
no, once I'm in something, I can definitely outlive everyone
Yeah.
else.
I love that. And like,
Yeah.
it really goes to say, like, I guess the other thing when you're looking at those kinds of things of starting something new, like say getting into YouTube, like there's that for me, there's that like resistance of like I need it to be perfect for it to actually get started. And I think a lot of coaches or people who are wanting to start a business or whatever it is, like there's that like level of like I need to figure it out before I start it. Like how do you help someone get through that? Because if you've done it yourself, you're and you're helping people, you've helped me do that. Like
Mhm.
how do you even like help just push them in that direction and be like just go?
Yeah, I think a lot of times it is maybe it's like a belief thing, right? Where I think a lot of times you feel like what's getting in your way is the idea that it needs to be perfect and be better, but in reality you're just scared that this could be something that's successful for you and you're kind of delaying that a lot of the times, right? So I think from a coaching perspective, you're just helping people believe that they can actually do it and take that first step because like it is if you don't look back on your stuff and kind of like wince a little bit, like you're probably not doing it right. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I can look back at some of my first like long-term videos. Like I am dead in the eyes. I am like just complete lack of like charisma and I'm just like going through the motions, but like
Yeah.
you don't do that stuff. And you never like take those steps and kind of go from there. And I even oh man, I don't know. Here's an interesting thing. Like we have like 3 cameras up here now,
Yeah.
and like pretty like the tech scene and stuff is like definitely evolving and getting a lot better. But for the first little bit, I had like a super basic like Canon camera that didn't have like this it would randomly turn off in the middle of the videos and I wouldn't know that it wasn't recording anymore. So like I took a because it didn't have the flip up thing. So I took like a full length mirror and put it on the other side of it and hit
Yeah.
record and I would could see on the other side to see if it was doing it or not doing it. And I remember I made my first 30 videos like just
Wow.
like the most bare bones
Yeah.
and you wouldn't even need to do that, you could just do it literally on your phone,
Yeah.
and that kind of stuff, but I think you just got to like commit to getting that process started because it's not
Yeah.
going to get good unless you make some bad stuff first.
Yeah. And I think that totally relates to like the fitness and the nutrition world of it all, right? To like think, okay, yeah, not only can you do that in your business, but for yourself, like you everyone says it, but like you have to put in the reps, and some of the reps, like your form is never perfect right from the get-go, like, and you're
Hmm.
never figuring out exactly how to balance your macros the first crack at it. Like it's unrealistic to expect that of yourself, but if you don't
Hmm.
keep trying it, you're never going to get figure it out, right? So it's like it really does pair together with like how you focus on building the foundation for who you are and how you take care of yourself, and then how your business goes. Like you kind of just morph those values into everything that you do. So I can see how, as you had that passion for that nutrition and like fitness, how it just naturally kind of pushed you into that, coaching world and helping other people. Like that's essentially the foundation of it all, is like how can we just put in the reps to get to where we want to go. And like, have you ever felt like a one of those, like, plateau moments, like
Oh,
in terms of
totally.
like both fitness or business? Like,
I'd say both. I'd say I probably business wise, I'm just coming out of the other end of one in the last little bit in terms of we were doing really well with it. Like the Dr. Mark method and stuff was good. Like it was like there's nothing wrong with it. But for a period of time, like definitely wanting to make it bigger and grow it and just kind of feeling like it just was kind of stuck a little bit. And then I think it's funny because I had mentioned this earlier and we've talked about it. Like sometimes like when the student is ready, the teacher will appear in terms of like sometimes you just got to sit in that kind of like stuck period for a bit before you're kind of like enough is enough. Like I need to make some big bold decisions. And I've been kind of trying to live that out this year around just thinking bigger and acting bigger and just aligning, my thoughts and my actions around that kind of stuff. So I'm probably coming out of one right now, but we just redesigned the program and gave it a facelift and made it less about me and more about the philosophy and the team and the vision and that kind of stuff. And you kind of build momentum around those things. So I think what I've had to learn is just being kind to yourself, like through those periods, because like being too hard on yourself just doesn't really help accelerate getting out of it. And just kind of being patient in terms of like there will be a moment where you're like, okay, here's what I need to do, and where you get that inspiration, where I get that inspiration, I can't always pinpoint it, but it definitely comes.
yeah, and even if you just, I think there's sometimes even like for me, and like there was a point like even this past fall I was like where am I going with this? Like where am I
Hmm.
trying to go with this thing? And like sometimes you just are like, okay, like I gotta kind of just sit in it for a little bit and figure out what is the direction I want to go. Like, well, if it's not feeling quite aligned, and like those are natural things. Like if you're questioning like, is this aligned right now with exactly how I want things to go and like how I want to actually help people? Like I think so often as coaches we think like I either have to like shift right away or I have to do change everything. It's like, yeah, like if the timing is right, you kind of naturally make those shifts, right? Like you
Hmm.
kind of know when things not have run their course, but they just do need to make a bit of an adjust. You need to make an adjustment, and like
Yeah.
I think that's kind of it's crazy because so much of like business and coaching, it all comes together. Of like, when someone's like, "Oh, this just doesn't feel like I'm stuck and I can't make changes." It's like, okay, we just need to make a shift and an adjustment. It's like with
Hmm.
everything in life, right? So it's it's super human to have those moments, and I think a lot of us think like, oh, they've got it figured out, or they got it figured out because it looks like this thing, and it's like, man, like behind the scenes, like if we could truly like peel back the scenes, like
Oh,
it's a
totally.
freaking mess. Like I literally just had like boxes behind me that I moved out of the way because I'm like, oh my gosh, like my monitor's box is still here, my walking pad. I'm like, I mean, this is real shit, but like it's, we don't have our shit together, but we
Hmm.
want to essentially push ourselves into the direction that's like, okay, well, I want to have it be this because this is what's going to help me feel more, you know, I don't know, satisfied or fulfilled in what I'm trying to achieve. Like, it's okay to shift gears. I think so many people are scared to shift gears because they're like, well, I put so much into this. It's like, well, you're not
Hmm.
completely wiping things out. You're just going this direction. So like,
Exactly. And you can always go back and you can always revisit those things. You probably won't because it's like not what's necessary, but like you can. And I think that kind of like I don't know, thinking at times allows people to make that leap and make that jump. And I just know for sure, like I definitely have those periods where it's like things wane and there's not much direction and that kind of stuff. I think you just got to keep up with like training is another good example. Like I haven't competitive based stuff, I love that. I do love like setting my sights on something and tackling it. And I've been kind of without that for a while, but just like I still lift 5 days a week most days. Like I'm just I don't know, just aspects of this is like this is what I've signed up for, and that's what I kind of do, and I've built my life around that. So I'm just keeping up with those things.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
yeah, you set a foundation and you rely on the things that are solid for you, and then if like when you build on that foundation, you're like, okay, actually I want to like build an add-on to my house, or like I want to do different things, or I
Yeah.
want to give it a facelift, like then you can, right? But like you're still sitting on that foundation, and I think that's what some people are like maybe trying to just focus on renovating everything above, but the foundations is rocky. So like even kind of allowing people to see like there's always like you always want to focus on your foundations first and build
Yeah.
from there, and like
Without a doubt.
it's okay for all of that stuff to be a little messy.
Yeah.
Like renovations are never clean and
I think
tidy, right?
I even think to continue on with that analogy, like I
Yeah.
think people are just like thinking about the renovations a lot of times, right? They're like stuck in that, like, what will I do? What could I do? What would that look like? In reality, like you just got to paint a room
Yeah.
and like that process will like just build some momentum into something else
Hmm.
will be
Yeah.
the biggest thing. You just gotta get like the toughest part is getting this stuff started. And I think a lot of times it comes from I think a lot of times people avoid like the negative stuff around like bad experiences and that kind of stuff. And I think, I don't know, to me, like that's been some of my best learning experiences and things that have pushed me, right? It's like who I don't want to be and that kind of
Hmm.
stuff. And you only see that by like sitting in some things for long enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is the hard shit to do, like to just be
Sure.
like
Yeah.
everything's on fire and
Yeah.
you're like, right? Like, but
Yeah.
you
Like
never
I just
know. Like,
I've had some partnerships in business where I'm like, oh man, like this is that your side of things is like not what I want, right? And same likely with like teaching experiences and stuff and working under people being like, I could see how I could be like that and just want nothing to do with it. And you don't realize that without just observing it and kind of being like, that's sometimes it's like what you don't want to be. It's just as good as like what you do want to be.
yeah. And like using those experiences that you're going through that are like, okay, I see that now, but I'm gonna go this way. Like, not a,
Hmm.
there's never a waste of time. Like, I feel like that's another thing. If someone's thinking about all of these experiences, being like, oh, I can't believe I wasted all the time. It's like, you know what, that's not productive for you. Like, okay, cool.
Nope.
Like, that's not the way I want to go. Okay, let's find a different way. And I think that's um, definitely something you've showed that you're just like, okay, like, cool. Let's just go the direction that feels more aligned with me, and that's going to help me, others, everyone else, right? So
Yeah.
that's a really cool part of it all. Yeah.
I think at times too, like, and this kind of, I know a lot of people think this way and feel this way. And I think maybe some of your coaching operates in this way too. Like one thing that I've like the slow and sustainable way is obviously like the best approach for most people and what we've been taught and that kind of stuff. But once you get out of those stuck periods, like it's crazy what you can actually accomplish in like much less time frames, right? If you just
Yeah.
focus on like what's most important and really like expedite things and that kind of stuff. And I think we're all just kind of maybe we should just hang around for those moments and wait for those. And then when it's like, I don't know, go time, like you kind of
Yeah.
know, and when it feels aligned, you can push a lot harder.
Yeah. And again, that comes from like you lay these foundations of like, yeah, maybe the beginning of like getting your footing is that moment where you get, okay, I just got to take like one step at a time, but then like once you get your grounding, you're like, okay, now I know exactly what I am capable of. I can just go for it now. Like that's
Hmm.
I think I think some people get stuck in the like, okay, do I have my footing? Like they keep questioning whether they have it or not. It's like just okay, sometimes you do just have to jump and like go and like and test
Hmm.
things. And know that like, okay, where's it coming from? Like what's the why for it? And like, we ask people what's their why and all the time, right? But it's like, okay, well, why don't you think that you can go do that, right? Like if it's in your mind, like go freaking do it, right? But we get stuck in that like, but am I stable enough to go do it? It's like, yeah,
Hmm.
sometimes there's definitely something to be said about the jumping and the
Totally.
going for it. So, do you feel like that's something that kind of needs to shift it, or what would be the one thing that you think the industry kind of needs to shift in terms of like the fitness or even coaching world?
That's a good question. I feel like as someone that is I'm rooted in being evidence based and let science influence my practice. I feel like maybe we've swung too far and like that being the only thing that like matters in terms of like are things correct or right or true, and if they're not, like we don't, it has no business or place in what we do or suggest to people. And I think that's just like the biggest, like such BS around those type of things. Like a good example is like I posted today about that like weighted vest stuff. Um, and people like they've gotten really popular, and then now there's been kind of a backlash around like we started to look at the science and it's like, ah, this isn't gonna like change everything for you, and maybe they're not even all that useful and that kind of stuff. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm kind of of the thought of like, if believing something and doing something keeps people in the game for longer, like why am I gonna argue people out of that, right? Like
Yeah.
if you leave the supplement store with $200 worth of supplements, but like the like in a bag full of stuff, but you're also ready to work, and that gets you excited about that stuff and more bought in around like doing workouts and focusing on what you're eating and that kind of stuff. Like what are we
Yeah.
doing? Why are we
Yeah.
arguing out of that stuff? Just to be right? That's the
Totally.
shift that I'd like to see.
Yeah. I think that's so, and man, social media, everyone's so loud on there. They just want to be, I'm
Yeah.
right, you're wrong. It's like, yeah, who gives a shit? Like, if you're,
Hmm.
yeah, I think the drive is more important than the necessarily the direction that you're getting there. Like, I think that's really important for a lot of, and for me to hear too. Like, as a coach, I'm like, yeah, no, that's like, hits hard for me because I'm like, yeah, I don't need to be right. I just need to know how to guide someone in the direction they're trying to go, which is like, okay, these are the things that are excited about. Let's use that and like continue to drive them forward, right? Instead of being like, well, that's not necessarily gonna. It's like, who gives?
Right?
Like, that's
Well, what a way
not
to
lovely.
squash rapport and excitement and momentum when you're just
Yeah,
kind of like, because those people are going to do that stuff with or without you. And it's your
yeah,
job to like get them to ultimately see what's most important, but not get in their way either. And I think that's the biggest thing that I've had to learn is like, there's a difference between being right and being helpful. And if you can focus on the latter, you'll definitely set people up to succeed as well as get to where you're going.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, totally. And I'm like, okay, I gotta, I always, it's like those things like come in because yeah, if you are someone who just is like, this is like I love structure and I love that, but it's also like sometimes the structure needs to bend a little bit so that it's suitable for everyone. I think we all kind of get locked into the trap of like, I know it. I'm trying to know it all, and then also just share everything that I know. It's like, okay, well, you don't need to do that, right? Like that's not helpful, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you're not going to be the best coach by telling someone everything that you know. It's really
Hmm.
applying the things that they need to know at the time, and I think sometimes that could just create this. Yeah, it's again kind of trying to let it take away from what you're trying to do for like, okay, I want to sound like I'm the smart coach. It's like, no,
Hmm.
let it be for them, not for me. And kind of like how you said with your business, you're like, I want it to be less like me focused, and I kind of want to have it more towards like the pillars and like what the principles are of this whole
Hmm.
purpose. It's like, yeah, you can take that into anything that you do. Be like, okay, what is the core here, and like let's focus on that versus like all the knowledge that again is foundational but not necessarily the thing that needs to be driving the bus
Yeah.
essentially, right? So
Is that
um
do you feel like that's a lesson you're learning right now in your coaching? It sounds pretty
yeah,
present. Yeah,
yeah,
that sounds.
very much so. I'm like, Greg, like I love data, which is like something that
Hmm.
I need to like sometimes let go of, right? It's like, okay, data is useful, but it's not like the only thing to use. So like
Hmm.
always I think it's good reminders for coaches everywhere to say like, yeah, like you really can let some of that slide or whatever you want to call it. It's just what is the specific goal? Like what are you trying to accomplish with coaching? Helping
Yep.
people. Duh,
Hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
I think that a lot of people listening to this, if they're kind of stuck in that same like, oh, I just got to tell people everything I know, that's going to help them. That it's not always the case, right? So
It's a
that's a
tough, I think
good
it might
nugget.
be, yeah, it might be just as much like sometimes experience helps you learn that and observe that. To me, coaching isn't, again, like you're saying, it's not giving someone the textbook of everything that you know, right? And that's what
Yeah,
we want to do. In the effort to be helpful, we're trying to give someone everything they possibly could know, but that's
mm-hmm.
really overwhelming, especially for someone that's not at the same level that we're at, right? So to me,
Right.
coaching is giving people like it's a clarity thing as opposed to a knowledge thing. It's
Yeah,
not here's everything you need to know. It's like no, here's only what you need to focus on
yeah,
based on your situation right now. and where you want to go, right? And like focusing on that. And sometimes it feels like too simple or we're not doing enough, when
Mm,
in reality, that's exactly what people need to get to that next level.
yeah. And for me as a coach, I'm like, I'm helper. I want to help. I want to fix. And it's like
Uh-huh.
sometimes it's too much. It's too much, right? Like you need to
Yeah,
like, you know, let people also figure some things out too. Again, provide the clarity and then let them kind of like go into that direction. Because again, we're like guiding them. We're not just like, here, go do this and like go figure this all out, right? So,
totally.
yeah, I think that's a helpful shift for a lot of people to kind of consider in terms of where they're trying to go with their coaching, right? So
Hmm.
that's, yeah, that's good stuff. And like, I think that over helping, I think for me, can create some burnout because I'm like, okay, I gotta be present. I gotta give them all the value. I gotta, get on calls as often as I can to help them through. It's like that's not actually like the burnout. Like, do you find that that's also something that people are dealing with? Is like that burnout side of things of like trying to overcoach?
Yeah, well, I think I was going to ask you, how are you moving through that? Like, what's helpful?
Yeah, I think just like again, like tuning into like what is my goal, and it's like okay, well, I want to help people, and it's like okay, but how do I truly help people? And like asking other coaches, like, hey, like what is your current process? I've had coaches myself. I've had coaches who took your program and
Hmm.
I've wanted to see their process. I'm like, I'm going to hire you as my
Yep.
nutrition coach. Like I hire people to not just to see their process, but to also help my physical health. But like I just want to see more than just my own because like you said before, it's isolating to do this. So like you're running your own
Hmm.
business, you're questioning if you're doing everything right. You're wondering if you're taking the right steps for all your clients and so for me like being like okay well what are the results my clients are getting what are my best clients doing how has that process been for them and honing in on that and being like okay why are these other people struggling a little bit more it's like I'm actually holding their hand too much
Yeah.
oh my god like
Yeah.
what a crazy feeling right like
Yeah.
um
I think for me to clarify some of these things, I almost think about like looking for like simple pieces of evidence where it's
mhm,
like, and I'm writing aspects of this down because I don't want to forget it. Maybe it'll be
yeah
important, maybe it won't. I think it's almost like, okay, if I want to get better at marketing, like are people reaching out to me to work with me? Like, am I having those conversations? Like if someone's been like vote of confidence, I see you as the person that can help me. Like I'm already doing something there, right? So like we
yeah
study that and dive into that. Results wise, right? It's like instead of being like, what are all the results I could get for my clients? Or is everyone, doing really, really well? It's like, no, like what are the best ones doing? Like, do I
mhm,
have some proof that like I can help people and that
yeah
kind of stuff? And a lot of times that like really like kind of demystifies and like
yeah
calms us around like, are we doing the right things and kind of going
yeah
from there? Because I don't know, success leaves clues in
mhm.
those ways. And I know a lot of times many coaches, both beginners and aspirational coaches, but also people established ones, they get wrapped up in like the one client that got away, right? The one that I just couldn't help and that kind of stuff. And I think the sooner you can realize that like that's normal and for a bunch of reasons, be it like they sucked, your approach just wasn't the best fit for them, like
Yeah.
whatever it was, like that those things happen. I think just moving forward from that as quickly as you can will save you a lot of time and energy.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
yeah, focusing on the successes and like, you don't want to just be like, oh, the other ones just happened. But like you just like have them be like, okay, that's the driving force. Like, the roadblocks that have driven us to where we want to be and like those things of like, okay, well, let's highlight the wins because that makes me feel a lot better and more confident. So,
Mhm.
and when you can build from that confident feeling, then you're just able to be in, I feel like in a clearer state. Like you have more clarity as a coach and seeing like, okay, I am helping people. Let's focus on the direction that's like, okay, this is more successful in the sense of like when my clients leave my coaching, this is how they feel and this is what they've accomplished, right? And like I've been doing a lot more like just reviewing like conversations with clients and reviewing, yeah, their whole process and be like, okay, like, and sometimes it's like you gotta get in the mess of it all, right? To like really
Mhm.
dig and find like what are the nuggets that you want to focus on and yeah, there's gonna be some mess. I think that's like where people just like, I'd rather not deal with it, and I'm just gonna maybe step away from things entirely. Like, there's been times
Yeah.
I've thought about stop like quitting coaching, and I'm like, why would I even do that? Like, how would I,
Uh-huh.
like, it's
Yeah,
something I truly love, but you can easily go down two rabbit holes, like either the rabbit hole of, like, I'm done with this, or, I'm fueled, I'm fired up. Let's continue to move forward. So, um,
exactly. I
yeah,
will say I think the overhelping aspect is really, really common, like without a doubt. I think people that get into this stuff do it because they care a lot, but they have to come to terms with caring too much is the thing that will limit the people that they're trying to help. And it's like a really tough realization. But I think being too helpful, being too accommodating, and all the times just doesn't allow people to like take ownership over what they're doing. And I think the one of the most important words that I've had to learn in the last little bit is just like no. Like the answer is no. To a lot of that stuff, right? Like people asking things of you or trying to bend the rules or whatever it is. And it's kind of crazy to see the reaction of when you just say no. People are like, okay. And you're like, oh man, that's not as bad as I thought it would be.
yeah.
Right? Like, and kind of
Yeah.
like standing your ground and kind of going from there. So that's definitely something I'm working on too. But I think a lot of people get into this stuff to because they care and they want to be helpful, and that's what's driving them. But a lot of times that can be really limiting as well.
Yeah, boundary setting is very important as you are, a business owner, someone who helps people. Like, if you're a people pleaser, watch out. Like, you got
Yeah,
to really
totally. Well,
learn. You got to learn how to figure that out, and that's what I'm figuring out for sure. So,
mhm.
I want to go through a couple rapid fires to kind of wrap us up,
Let's do it.
because I feel like this conversation is has been so valuable. Um, and so many people are going to listen to this and be like, holy shit, like I'm going to go make some changes here.
Cool.
But let's wrap it up with some rapid fire for like some of the little fun lightness. So, um, I want to know, what is the most cringy thing you have ever done for your nutrition? Like, what is that one thing that you look back and go like, oh my God, Mark, what did you do that for?
Like I honestly, the most cringy, I definitely during my undergrad was definitely in the camp of like thinking like low carb meal timing stuff was like the end all be all.
Yeah.
I remember one night after the bar, like having like drank all night, but still kind of being
Yeah.
food focused,
Yeah.
thinking like if I save this pizza till tomorrow morning, like it's not going to make me fat. And I remember hiding it from like college roommates,
Oh,
like away, like it wasn't even the fridge, like under the couch or something, so that I could eat it later. Um, all because I thought like if I didn't do it before bed, like that would be the best thing for me.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's definitely something that comes to mind.
Yeah.
Um, would be one. Two, I've done a lot of weight cutting stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and some of my more aggressive weight cuts, like this is definitely like in the short term, like this isn't going to help you lose fat or anything like that, but to
Yeah.
lose weight in short periods of time, like I remember there's definitely some experiences with like I had to take a few suppositories a few
Oh,
times. Like
oh
that's a
man.
brand when you're putting stuff in
That's
your butt, like it's a brand
yeah.
new. Yeah.
That's next level, man.
It is. It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
And I remember that like one specific time in 2015 at St. John's. I remember calling my training partner who was coming over to like help like from another hotel and asking him to pick some up. And I remember doing it and being like, first of all, like what are we doing? Second of all, like that I don't know if you want TMI. I was like, that went in so easy. What is the meaning of this? Being like, oh man.
Um,
So yeah, those are two things that are
yeah.
of varying levels of cringe.
Yeah, I love that's super cringe, but also so real though. Like the things we do in the efforts of trying to just be like, I gotta get there, right? Like
Uh-huh. Yeah.
just put stuff up your butt. It's a thing people do. It's not a normal. But
Yeah.
uh what is second question, rapid fire? What is like your favorite go-to like chaos meal where you're like, I have no clue what to make for supper. This is just the thing I'm like throwing together.
Oh man, I think for whatever reason, anytime I create a meal that has like hummus included, I feel like a healthier person. I don't know what it is. Like there's
Yeah.
something about it. Like probably like it was actually just like a bunch of extra calories that I don't need. But for whatever reason, like um something like pseudo taco bowl, kind of like burrito bowl, but like with hummus as like one of the condiments like on the
Yeah.
side is definitely something like I feel healthier doing and is like super easy to make. So
Yeah, no. A rice bowl with some protein, just throw it all together.
oh
Super
man, something
easy.
like cooking, it's weird how we get stuck at times because the things that like we actually need and are balanced and make us feel good are never really hard to come up with or do. But at the same time, the flip side is it just seems really like, I don't know, insurmountable at times to like get there and do that. So
Yeah.
that part can be tough.
Totally, totally.
Yeah.
And then one last question. What's one thing that people misunderstand the most about nutrition coaching?
About nutrition coaching. Uh, I think at times, like everyone thinks that coaching, you should do coaching when like you're in a really good spot and it makes sense and the timing falls in line with like the energy you have and what you're doing. In reality, it's like that's the absolute last time you need a coach. You need to like a coach when like you have no business making progress. And that's when you should like sign up for things because like if you can make some sort of progress and improve and pick up a new skill or get a result when you have no business doing it, like just think what you'll be able to do when things are a little bit easier. They probably will never will be, but like in a better situation. So that to me is like I think one of the big myths around this space and getting help is that we just wait until things are make more sense. In reality, that's never like the best use of our investment, energy, time,
Mm,
effort.
yeah, no, that's awesome. Man, this conversation is just like so many good nuggets for people to just, anyone who's listening, if there's something that literally lit you up and you're like, oh man, I feel like I gotta share this, like, find us on Instagram. You can find Dr. Mark on Instagram at Mark W. Morris or on YouTube. He has YouTube as well, as you heard him talk about. So go follow him and subscribe there at Dr. Mark Morris so that you can get more information if you're an aspiring coach. Maybe you're someone who's like, that's something that I've always wanted to do, but I've never thought about doing it. Just
Totally.
go like binge the shit out of his stuff because you're gonna learn something and then you might actually just want to like work with him and sign up for the Nutrition Coaching Academy because you want to take that first step, like just fucking go for it. So do
I
it.
love it. You
Um,
bet.
but thanks so much for joining this conversation. I appreciate you so much because, like I said before, like you kind of like were the pivoting point for me to get to where I am. So like, such a cool opportunity to get to chat with you about all things coaching, nutrition, everything.
Awesome. Well, Danny, thanks for having me on and happy to play a very small part. And I'm so excited to see where you're taking things and doing this stuff. So keep on this path.
Okay, thanks so much, Dr. Mark. We'll talk
You
to you
bet.
soon.
See ya.
This episode sparked something for you, I'd love to hear it. Tag me or send me a message on Instagram at wellnesswithdanny.s and let me know what landed or felt like the thing that you needed to hear today. So you can also find Dr. Mark on Instagram at Mark W. Morris and over on YouTube at Dr. Mark Morris. His links are included in the show notes below. And hey, if you're loving these conversations, it would mean so much if you hit follow or subscribe and leave a quick review on Apple or Spotify or leave a comment down below if you're watching on YouTube. It just helps the show reach more people who need to hear these real, unfiltered conversations about real life shit. So, I really appreciate you showing up and listening. So, whether you're a coach, a client, or just trying to figure some things out, messy progress still counts. And I appreciate you being here, and I'll see you next time. Bye.